And then sorry, let me put my phone on silent here. I finally rewatched Gone Girl.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously you sent me a screenshot of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because Ben Affleck's penis makes a quick appearance in that movie, and
Yeah, it's like a fraction of a second, but it's there.
I had to do a double take because I was like, "Was that his penis?" And then I like rewound it. I was like, "Yeah, it's his penis."
Indeed, indeed it is.
So then I just sent Edward this zoomed in photo of Ben Affleck's penis. I was like, "There it is." Um, but but nevertheless, I still think this is David Fincher's best movie. Um,
Yes.
yeah, Gone Girl's a fucking amazing film, dude. And I could, we could have a whole episode on Gone Girl. So I'll just, make a few points here. First of all, I love the way David Fincher made that film in terms of just on a technical level. The music in that film is phenomenal. Just the mood of the movie. I love the scenes, the sort of morbid tranquility of the scenes with Amy Dunn's narration, um, like midway through the movie where it's revealed that she just disappeared herself and
Mhm,
framed her husband, and she's just
mhm,
driving, and her voice, like that actress's voice, just hypnotic, and just
mhm,
that just hypnotic voice as you're watching these um beautiful images filmed by David Fincher, of her just driving, and there's like these slow motion sort of montage images of her like driving and then buying things from the store, and like cutting and dyeing her hair and shit, where um just beautifully made film. And I will say, on a story level, I remember the first time watching that being more on Ben Affleck's side than I
mhm,
was this time around watching it.
mhm.
Um, Disclaimer: the character of Amy Dunn is a terrible human being and a complete psychopath. Let's just put that out there. I'm not, I'm not taking that character's side, but I think people are really drawn to that character because and the first time we watched it, the person who showed us the film, I remember her saying at the time, like, I really like that movie. It's very
Mhm.
feminine, and I remember at the time I was like, oh shit, that's like that was your take on it. But I definitely get like what she's saying when I rewatched it in terms of,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much feminine for me, but when I was watching it, I can see why people are drawn to her character, because the whole movie, they're basically setting it up to where the character of Amy Dunn has just felt used and abused like her whole life. Where even
Right.
as a kid, I forgot the whole Amazing Amy thing, where her
Right.
parents created the children's book series based on
Mhm,
her, but it was like
mhm.
the character was like a better version of her,
Right.
which kind of stung for that character.
Right. Because that's the thing, isn't it? It's just like the idea of like societal expectations and like roles. It's
Exactly.
like these roles. And that's like I guess I mean that's kind of like the feminist angle of it. And that's kind of why
Yeah.
it's like such like a big movie like that in that sense. And it's interesting, like you said, because like you watch that thing and then it just kind of takes on different forms when you watch it, at different times.
Yeah.
Um, definitely, I think definitely his best movie for a fact.
Yeah, I agree.
But we haven't seen Mank,
That's true.
so
That's true.
who knows?
Yeah, and the thing is with it, I think it really transcends gender, because I actually, after I watched it, I thought of Fight Club, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of similar themes the character uh between the character of Amy Dunn and the character of Tyler Durden, where she's
Hmm.
sort of a female Tyler Durden in a way, where she's just fed up. She's fed up by this box society has put her in, and she, as Joaquin Phoenix says in Joker, she werewolves.
We live in a
Yeah,
society.
they werewolf and go wild. But you
Yeah.
you feel that. I found myself getting that same feeling that I get when I watch Fight Club, where you watch her like get away and create a new identity, and you're just
Mhm.
like, fuck yeah, hell yes. Um, it's again, it's similar to Breaking Bad with Walter White. It's the same kind of thing where you Walter White. It's hard to argue that he's anything but a terrible human being, but
Right.
at the same time, you're on that ride with him because we people live these lives of quiet desperation, and when you see a character break those chains, you get excited. And I think that's why people are drawn to that character. Um, And yeah, Ben Affleck's character is, especially the first half of that movie when the story wants you to question whether he murdered her. You know, he's a real piece of shit. I mean, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He was he didn't treat her very well at all, and it doesn't excuse anything she did. But you know, it's a story that does very well with flawed characters.
Yes.
And I really, at the end of the day, feel bad for his sister in that movie. I think she
Yeah.
was like the
Yeah.
saint of that movie.
Yeah.
I feel bad for his sister, man, because um, I didn't remember it, but my memory of that film, of the ending, was that he was staying with her for the time being, but was still sort of biding his time. But
Mhm.
that was a false memory, because when I rewatched it, I'm like, no, he's staying with her for good.
Right.
And with her pregnancy or whatever, she inseminates herself to basically be like, hey, you're with me, buddy. We're gonna be
Mhm.
tied. We're tied together forever now. And his character sort of has this realization where it seems, and I'm sure people will have different interpretations of the ending, but it does seem, and his sister calls him out on it, where she's like, you want to stay with her,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
you want to stay with her, because and he's sort of like, oh, I'm doing it for the child, I have a
Right.
responsibility. But
Right.
the way he says it, it's bullshit, because it's like, while
Right.
that's admirable for a man to stick around for his child, in the movie Gone Girl, I don't think anybody would ding him for bowing out and
Right.
not abandoning his child completely, not abandoning his child, but getting away from that woman, and just you know, being like, "Hey, I'll support the child, I'll visit the child, but I'm not living with you." No one would knock him for that.
Right.
It's not. Even in less crazy situations, it's arguable that it's not good to stay in a marriage just for the kids. There is that whole
Right.
debate, and
Right.
um, my conclusion was that he realized, during that scene where she says like, "No, you don't want anyone else. I'm it, baby."
Mhm.
My interpretation of that was he sort of believed that and was like, you
Right.
know what, this woman killed for me.
Right.
And he's like, I'm he is as hypnotized by her as the audience at the end of that film.
Right. But it's one of those strange things too, right? Because it's like you said, it's like or rather, like to me, ultimately, also just kind of feels like one of those like like when you see it type of things.
Yeah.
Because it's like you could see this thing again and be like, actually, no, the other way, and that's the fascinating. That's like the rewatchability of it.
Yeah.
That's where it beats like shit like even shit like Seven, or
Yeah.
even shit like The Usual Suspects,
Right.
where there's not one like definitive answer. It's a little bit more like, okay, you have to kind of think about it and come to your own conclusions.
Exactly. Yeah, and Gone Girl, dude, after watching
What's in the box?
yeah, after rewatching Gone Girl, I also concluded that this is one of the most watchable movies ever. Like, it is
Yeah.
it, it's a it's a transfixing film. I mean, it just draws you in and doesn't let you go, and
Hmm.
that's why I give
Hmm.
it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, absolutely. I stand with you with that.